Shawnee, welcome back. So I've already put a bit of primer on, but let me tell you what this video is about. This video is a collab with my good girlfriends, Jan Van and Erica Conger. So we have been doing like monthly collabs with one another, and this is this one's. So of course, Erica came up with some questions for us to answer, as per usual. And we're also supposed to use a palette, I think that represents us or that we like or something. Make sure to go to Erica and Jan's videos to figure out what we're supposed to do. But whatever we're supposed to do, I was like, oh, I know what palette I'm gonna use. But oh, I need to combine that palette with something else. So there are two brands that I think represent my aesthetic. I think you know what those brands are. Take a moment, put it in the comments. What two brands do you think I am about to use together? What two brands? Do you need a guess? Do you need a hint? I don't think you need a hint. The first one is the Dame, Patricia McGrath. Now, I am going to be using Divine Rose 1, and this is her 7th mothership. And this is just, it's soft, and it's pink, and it's sparkly. But it can also give you a little bit of va-va-voom, right, with the shimmer. So, like, that's me. That's me in a palette. And then, my cousin, Danessa Myricks. Her Groundwork palette. Listen, this palette, like, top 35 things that have happened to me in life. I love this palette so much. And I really do feel like it is the groundwork, the base of a lot of looks. Like, you have everything in here. I'm not gonna tell you more about it. You've heard me go on and on about this palette. It's like when somebody talks about their new boo and it's like, okay, we get it. You like her. You like him. Good for you. So I'm going to use both of these to create a look. I just went in with the Specular Sparkle and Shimmer Glue Base from Divina Cosmetics. I'll probably put a little bit more on because I feel like it's not tacky anymore. And we'll go ahead and start the questions. Number 1. If your pet could talk, what would they say about you? I don't know if everyone knows about Rosé, who is I'm her human, okay? She's my cat. Rosé! Now, Rosé and I have daily conversations, like all day, every day. You know, we just chat a little bit, like, we'll get annoyed with each other and, you know, yeah. But we always end up like cuddling and having fun and just like loving each other, right? So I think this could go a couple of ways. I think if Rosé was in therapy, she would have a different conversation about me than if she was like out in the world. I think in therapy, she would be like, this bitch. She got all these rules. She be trying to make me go outside and put my paws on the dirty concrete. She tries to get me in this cage that's like pink and black, but it's still a cage, to take me to some place where they like to poke at me, okay? No. The other thing, sometimes she be cutting down on my food. And the thing is, if I knew how to open that can myself, I wouldn't have to worry about her. Also, she be real late sometimes. I'm supposed to eat in my dinner meal at about 3. Sometimes this trick be coming in the house about 3:10. Like, where have you been? I don't understand. I don't get it. You claim that you have to work to support us. Nobody asked you to do that. She get on my nerves. But if she was talking to somebody out on the street and they were trying to say something about me, she would be like, don't be talking about my mama, okay? Yeah, don't be talking about her. That's how I feel like she would be. And then she would come to me and be like, hi, how are you? Love you so much. So That's how I think Rose would talk about me. Great. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pop open the Mothership, and I'm immediately drawn to this shade here. So I'm going to start by putting that all over my lid. Okay. What is an embarrassing moment from your youth? First of all, I'm still a youth, but whatevs. I would say, like, these questions are not easy. I would say one thing that I felt like was so embarrassing was, so when I was in my youth, I played sports, right? So I was a cheerleader, varsity cheerleader in high school. But before high school, I played basketball, which I hated, y'all. We had a game and I just didn't want to play. So what I did was I faked an injury. I pretended that the real tall girl in front of me that was blocking me, is that how you call it? Girl, I don't know. I pretended that she like bumped me and I just fell out. She got thrown out the game and I could sit down with my fake injury. But anyway, so I didn't enjoy basketball, but I loved volleyball. And I kicked butt at volleyball. I was a starter. I was, you know, part of the Fab Five. Now there was this one time we were in a game, right? And the ball came over the net from the other side. So I was in the back, I think, and was I in the back or was I playing in the middle? I don't know. But I was getting ready to like hit the ball, you know. Why did that ball bounce right off my head? My glasses fell, the ball bounced and just like kept going. But here's the thing, ain't nobody stopped the game. My best friend's sister, she went ahead and kept playing the game. Like, so she was able to like spike the ball. The ball just bopped right off my head. And then they expect me, I'm supposed to just go back to playing when I'm just so embarrassed. That was like an embarrassing moment. Like, I remember that to this day. And I think the part that I was most upset about is that the game didn't stop. Like, it just kept going. Like, how are you gonna play off my bop on the head? You know, I just feel like that's super selfish. And then I have to keep on playing in the game while everybody's over here laughing. I see how it is. Now, the next question is, what is the strangest food combination that you enjoy? Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know. I feel like I don't necessarily have strange food combinations. Like, I don't like combining foods, really. Like, I don't like cold cut sandwiches. I feel like that's, I don't like that. Yes, I can tell you what I don't like what combinations I don't like. I don't like fruit and chocolate together. Like, I don't like chocolate dipped fruit. I think that's gross. I just want my fruit and I want my chocolate and I don't want to merge them. This isn't a merger. I'm not a fan. I don't like it. Don't like it whatsoever. But I don't know. I really don't know what combinations are like strange. Because also, you know, like being Caribbean American, there's like Caribbean food that Americans might find strange. And there's American food that Caribbean folks might find strange. So I really don't know. If somebody knows, you've seen something and you're like, yeah, that's gross, that's super strange, let me know. Yeah, because I'm really not sure. But I really don't like combining things. I feel like I don't really combine stuff. No. I don't know. Jam thinks it's weird that I like edamame and I'll just eat it. And Jan and Erica also think it's weird that I just love kombucha. But I feel like that's just Californian stuff, you know? I don't know. I want to make this pinker. So let's see. Maybe I'll go in with this shade here. Okay, number 4. What is the craziest thing you've ever done on a dare? I don't know that I've been dared to do much. I mean, there's one thing that I can recall from high school. I don't even know if this was a dare or I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Okay. So my high school, the high school I went to is in Hollywood, California, up in the hills. And then my family home is in South Central LA. That's two different places, girl. So think like, I don't even know what you could think. But I took the public bus to and from school, and there were a few other people who took the bus as well, but I was one of the last stops out of all of us, if not the last. And so I would be on there for a minute, right? Like, the bus drivers would get to know us because our school was the last stop going one way. And so we would often have, you know, like the drivers started to get to know us because we were always coming on the bus at the same time. So we would be in the back, as you know, all the little school kids like to go in the back and be bad. And there was once where I was like so hungry, especially because this guy got on the bus with some McDonald's. Now there had been on occasion where I got the driver who was taking us to school to, you know, there was a light at the McDonald's, and I asked him a couple of times, like, could he wait? And I could go get, like, a biscuit, bacon, egg, and cheese. But going home, you know, it's a lot more people. They're not going to stop. So, you know, my friends were like, I think they said this, or I just did it on my own. They were like, okay, we dare you to go ask that man for food. And I was like, bet. So, don't do this. Don't do this at all, okay? This was chupid, as my family would say. This was real chupid. But I went up to home dude and I was like, hi, you know, I'm just like really hungry. Can I have some of your fries? And he was like, sure. So I had some fries. And then he was like, I have an extra burger. I was like, oh, I'll take that too. So I just sat and had a burger and fries with my new friend. And the fact that someone else had paid for it made it even tastier. I would never do that in life right now. Ever in life. I'm less crazy, I guess. More, maybe, I don't know. But I do know that that was dumb and I ain't never gonna do it again in my life. But it was real good. So I'm pretty keen on, I'll do it there. But I don't think I've been dared to do much because I'm willing to just be a fool. So, yeah. Number 5. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be? So I guess if we're thinking like the traditional superpowers, what's that? Like flying, teleporting, strength, mind reading, mind control. So I'm thinking X-Men, okay? This is hard. Because Storm, like, controls all the weather. But then Jean Grey is just, like, a complete badass and does everything. But then, Rogue has the cool hair and she could just, like, touch you and make you just, like, burn. I would definitely want to be dating Wolverine, for sure. What's that chameleon-like character that also, like, can teleport? That might be good because I could just go from place to place. No, flights, no spending extra money. You know, I could just like teleport, like, hey, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna just go to California real quick. I need a burrito. You know, so I think teleporting would be, is that a superpower? Yeah. And now I'm like, am I supposed to say like something that will end world hunger or something? Because this feels like this is like a very self-centered superpower that really doesn't benefit anyone but me. So if I had a different superpower, like the ability to solve all the terrible things in the world, that sounds really busy. I would choose that because that's better. But personally, if I could just do something real quick right now, I would teleport. Right now, I would teleport to G because he's out of the country. I'm like, hey, boo, who are you talking to? Okay. Number 5, explain an inside joke that you have with a family member or a friend. Okay. This joke, basically the punchline of the joke, or like the how we get into it, is, where's the Sheridan? So a couple of years ago, I was part of a practice, a psychology practice, and we were going to a conference in New York in, were we in Times Square, Manhattan? Oh no, Times Square. And I have a limited sense of direction. So the way things worked, I think 2 of the therapists were going to go together, and then me and the practice owner, we were going to be on the same train together, but because we were all taking the train up. But the practice owner got all lost. No, she was stuck in traffic, and so she was like, go ahead and I'll meet you there. I'm gonna go in with some of these browns here. Go ahead and I'll meet you there. Yeah. And so I was nervous because I just really have trouble navigating space and time. So I was just nervous. And so I make it to the train station, the train stop in Nueva York. And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to take a cab to the hotel. So I get in the cab. I don't even know how I managed to figure out how to get a cab. But I get in the cab and I tell the person where I'm going. And we pull up somewhere and he's like, you know, dropping me off. And I'm like, am I at where I'm supposed to be? And so he's like, yeah. So I get out and I'm looking and I'm like, I don't even, like, where's my hotel? And I was like, where's the Sheridan? Child, I was standing right in front of the Sheridan looking at it. And so me and my work wife, that has just been the like the running joke, you know, because I just have no sense of direction. When something is standing right in front of me, I'm like, where is it? So we're always like, where's the Sheridan? Oh my God. And we had like gone out that evening. I don't know if you know this, but therapists, they like to imbibe. They like to have drinks. So we went out to this restaurant that was like right across the street. But I wasn't paying attention, right? So then we're leaving, and this is like literally on video. And, and you just see me like, where are we? Like, where are we? Where's the Sheridan? Like, that was like my tagline for the entire conference. Where's the Sheridan? I know, I'm a nut. I like how this shade just like really... Rose, what's that? What would you say about me? Right, I feel like that, you see, I feel like that's real rude. I know. You real shady. Don't tell them nothing. Don't tell them nothing. All right, so number 7. What did you do as a teenager that makes you cringe now? Y'all, as a teenager, I didn't do much, honestly. I was very, very focused on school. I was very, very focused on school for various reasons. So I don't think I did anything that makes me cringe. I mean, the one thing I can think of is that I didn't have confidence in myself. And I look back and I'm thinking, why? Why were you hating on yourself so much? You were fine. You know what I mean? So I cringe in a way of like, I wish that I had liked and loved myself more as a child and as a teenager, as, you know, yeah. Because I think it's pretty common for teens to like go through those moments of like, oh my God, my life sucks, I hate everything. But I feel like mine went deeper than that. And I feel like sorry for young me, you know? I still struggle with those things. I still do. But like when I do things like read back at my journals and stuff, I get sad for myself because I really think that I could have loved myself a lot more. So that's what I kind of cringe at, regret maybe. Yeah, that's kind of sad, right? But yeah, that's it right there. I just wish I had given myself a lot more love. What is number 8? What is the most ridiculous thing you believed as a child? I don't know if this is ridiculous, and I blame my siblings. So I have older siblings that are 8, 11, and 12 years older than me, and you probably experience this if you have older siblings. They convinced me that I was not part of the family, that I was adopted, and I believed them. They would say things like, we just found you, like, outside, and we thought you were cute, so we asked mommy and daddy to keep you. Just stuff like that. And one day, my mother had to sit down with me and clear things up, essentially. And, you know, I still question it. I'm not completely 100% convinced that they're my biological parents and siblings. I'm not quite sure. There are some things where I'm like, nah, that's hereditary. There ain't no way that all this craziness is not coming from those two. Well, one of them, essentially. But then there are other times where I'm like, there are a couple of things that I noticed that don't really help your position. Like my name is spelled incorrectly on my birth certificate. How about that? I don't know. That seems a little suspect. That's all I'm going to say. What is the dumbest way you've injured yourself? Have I had a lot of injuries? Dumbest way you've injured yourself. Like, I've never had, like, broken anything. Maybe sometimes a sprain. Oh, okay. This is when, early on, when I moved here for internship, and, you know, I went out with some of my friends and had some drinks. Now, I didn't drink until I was an adult. Like, I wasn't, like, a partier in high school and doing all kinds of stuff. Nah. So when I got to internship, I was like, ow, let's do it. So me and my friends went out one night, and I had on these like 7-inch boots, okay? Looking so good. But then walking back to the car in those boots with like ice and stuff on the ground, I definitely turned my ankle. Kind of still hurts sometimes. That was the dumbest thing ever. Why did I wear those shoes to this thing? Why did I wear those shoes? That didn't make no sense. But, you know, I was young and dumb. But I'm going to tell you something. I looked real good. What is the worst outfit you've ever worn? Worst outfit I've ever worn. I don't think there is one. The only thing I can think that I would like change is in college, like freshman year, it was Halloween and we were all gonna go out, and I don't know why, but we were just dressed like in really itty bitty clothes, as you know, 18-year-old college kids do. And so I had on this super hella tight red dress that was like one of my roommates who were like so much smaller than me. So this dress was like painted on and it was red. And for some reason I wore it with a black and white polka dot like cowboy hat. I don't know why that was the choice. That was pretty ridiculous. That was probably the worst thing I've ever worn. I mean, when I went to Catholic school all the time, so I was always in uniform. And then when I went to college, I wore a lot of like dresses and skirts. And then when I went to grad school, you know, I was dressing professionally in a way for me to see clients. So I feel like I just had like limited, you know, chance to look like a fool. What is the coolest thing you've ever made? So this is something that I've been like working on for decades. When I was in grad school, I challenged myself to try to do something that I wouldn't be good at. That might sound very like full of myself, but I would really like put pressure on myself to do everything perfectly, you know? So I was like, I think actually I'm like taking credit. I think it was actually my therapist was like, we need to find you something that you're just not going to be good at, period. So I started to learn how to knit, and I went to like these classes on Saturdays, and it was all like older ladies and me. And I was the worst in the class, okay? The worst. The teacher was like, you are so tense. Like my stitches or whatever were just like so tight. And when I tell you, I've been working on a doily for like 20 years. Like, I have not finished that doily at all. I don't know why, how, when. I don't think it's ever going to be finished. Like, but I insist that I'm still working on it. So that might be the coolest thing I will make if I ever make it. What is your definition of success? That's hard. What's your definition of success, Rose? You don't know either? My definition of success. My definition of success. So I definitely think that success is like often defined by our society. Like when you like make it to like a certain income bracket, or I don't know, you know, you're like the best at something. I think that definitely indicates success. But I don't know that I take that approach to it. I don't know that I've really ever thought about this. But I want to say, in whatever you do and whomever you are, just being like really owning that and being satisfied with that and being okay with that and just like being grounded and confident. That to me is success, because you're like, then anything you do, you're going to be cool with. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily about the money, although I'll take the money, or the prestige, although, you know, I like prestigious things. I think it's like, if you feel good about yourself, you feel just like you are you, and that is more than fine. To me, that is the definition of success. And I think we are often all chasing that success, or what we think success is, and we forget to really just accept ourselves and bask in who we are and make no apologies. I think that's all I can think of in terms of success. What is your most cherished possession? Myself. No, there is something that is probably my most cherished, or one of the most important things to me, and I will show it to you. Here it is. So it's this rock on a string, and on the back it says Kairos. Now, when you go to a parochial, you know, like Christian-based, I think pretty much high school, there is this experience called Kairos. So this is my Kai rock. So basically, it's this experience. I was explaining this to Jan and Erica a while ago, not even related to this question. Basically, you go with some of your classmates away to like a secluded place. I know this sounds like the beginning of a scary movie, but it's not. And basically, it's like a retreat, but it's a very insular retreat in terms of you're not really interacting with anyone outside of this group. And it is like students, and then I think it's 4 teachers maybe, and 4 student leaders. And basically, it's like one of the most spiritual, and I don't mean religious, it's like one of the most spiritual, like almost like life-changing experiences. Basically, you go away, and you go away for 4 days. And I don't know if they still do it this way, but we couldn't like have cell phones and computers and stuff. Like, you are really just sitting with yourself, and there are no distractions, like, at all. Your room was pretty much, it was like at a convent, right? And so the way it works is your student leaders each have a topic that they will talk about. So I went as an attendee, and then I also went as a leader of my friends, essentially. And so my topic, I think, was like God's friendship or something. Like, it wasn't necessarily religious though. So you could kind of do with the topic as you wanted. So there's a lot of just like bonding. There's like a lot of emotional release. Like, you're crying for days just because the intensity of the moments that you're sharing with your friends, your sisters. So the one part that I will never ever forget is that we're all sitting together at different tables and stuff, and the teachers go up and they start reading letters. And so everybody's listening intently to the letters, because at the end of the letter, it'll say whose parent that letter is from. When I tell you, like, it is just, you're just sobbing. Because, so my mom wrote my letter, And so you're listening to your friends being told like that they're loved and all this stuff. And then you're hearing things from your loved ones and blah, blah, blah. And then and then the intensity continues because you're crying your eyes out. You're exhausted from days of crying and days of like connecting and being vulnerable and being emotional and talking about things you never talk with other people about. And that stay there, you know? And then you like go to your room that is bare, and then you look at the bed, and then there are all these letters. And they're letters from your family, your like friends, your Girl Scout friends, your other students at the school, people from church, like just all these people that have interacted with you that want to tell you basically that they love you. And so what you don't know before you go is that in the background, the school has been contacting like your family and being like, this is what we're doing. We really would like for you all to write letters. Like if you could just get anyone you think would want to write one, to write one. My dad wrote me a poem. Like when I tell you this was the most, I think still is the most like one of the most transformative things to experience. And I think everyone should go on Kairos. I do know that now they do it in some like prisons, and I don't know if it's the same. So basically you go for 4 days, and on the 4th day, we all say to live the 4th. And so that means taking everything that you've learned and shared and figured out within those 4 days. Like, even though it's the 4th day is the last day, like, don't stop growing. Don't stop appreciating. Do you know what I mean? Like, you come back feeling just like, like, you just feel this sort of awakening and just this spiritual, like, experience that is, it's so hard to describe. And so then you're emotionally exhausted, you're physically exhausted from all the crying you're doing, and you come back and you walk into this room and all of your family and stuff is there. It is so intense, y'all. It is so intense, and I would do it 12 times over. I would do it over and over and over again. A lot of us are always like, we need a Kairos. We need an adult Kairos. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. And so that leads to my most cherished possession. When you come back from Kairos, you get your Kai Rock. And so this is supposed to be something that you use to remember the experience. Like you get it individually given to you. No, it's not like you go and pick it up out of a bowl or something. You get it handed to you. And so this I keep with me. I've kept with me forever, essentially. There was one time where I used to wear it, and I wore it to a steel drum performance, and I think I had taken it off or something, and so it was lost, and I was devastated. But somehow or another, someone who knew my dad or something, they found it and they got it back to me. And so now I usually keep it in my car. I haven't taken it out of my car like in forever. I just took it out to show you guys. And it says Kairos on the back. And Kairos, I think it's like Greek for like time, because essentially it's supposed to be, we're not confined by the way time is defined in our society. I don't know, y'all. It's just the most emotionally freeing and raw ever. And that is this. So having this always reminds me of the retreat and everything that I learned there. All right. What is the best advice you've ever received? So again, when I was in grad school, period, my life, I have often put pressure on myself to be perfect, to do everything the right way, to make no mistakes. Like, it's a very rigid, confining way to live. But for various reasons, that's what I did and sometimes still do. And so I was in grad school and, you know, I knew nothing about getting a PhD. I really didn't even know what it meant. I just knew that I wanted to be called doctor, and apparently this is how you get to it without going to medical school. First in my family to do that. I was so confused. I didn't know what anything was. I didn't know what a dissertation was. I didn't know what this mess was. And, you know, in grad school, it's different from undergrad. It's just different. And I was putting so much pressure on myself to perform at peak performance, never ever like messing up, never misstepping in any way, which is kind of how my life had been. Like, I was the good kid. You know, I never did anything remotely not okay. And so I went to grad school with that mentality, and it was just, it wasn't going to work. Like, that was so hard to live up to my own unrealistic, irrational expectations. And I just remember talking to one of my friends, and I will never forget her, because she said, sometimes good enough is good enough. And I don't know why that just changed my life, because I feel like I was somehow given permission to not like put so much pressure on myself to do everything the right way. So when I heard good enough is good enough, like, I was just like, whoa, I had never thought of that. And I feel like that really changed how I was in grad school. I mean, I was still trying to be a little perfect, but I do feel like a bit of that pressure came off. Not all of it, but at least a little bit, that allowed me to not just work myself to the bone and just do things to make sure that people, you know, thought I was doing like a good job, or that I was competent and all that stuff. So when she said good enough is good enough, it wasn't even just like the work that she was talking about, in my opinion. It was also just like, you are good enough. Like, you're good enough just the way you are. You know, you don't have to think that you have to be some sort of exceptional thing, because you're already exceptional just because you're you. You know, it just like really, it had such a powerful impact on me. And I don't even know that she knew. But yeah, because I don't know if I had a chance to tell her. But it was that one sentence just really had a huge impact on me. And I even use that to this day in terms of with clients. Now, I don't know that I follow it for myself very well. But yeah, oftentimes when I think back on grad school, I think of that advice, essentially, that my friend gave me, that I don't even think she knows had such an impact on me. The last question. What celebrity do you think you have the most in common with? Is that hard to answer? Like, if you've seen any of my videos, or you saw me talking about my birthday, you will know that Kelly Clarkson and I are the same person. We're the same person. Even my niece was like, you guys would actually be best friends. And I'm like, I know. When I tell you I love me some Kelly, I love Kelly Clarkson. Now, recently, with her talking about she lost a ton of weight just by walking around in New York City, I don't believe that for 2 seconds, Kelly. I don't believe that, okay? You could walk from here to eternity, and you're not going to lose that 40 or 60 pounds or whatever in 3 months. I don't, like, are you power walking every moment of the day? So I'm a little disappointed in her, because I don't believe that that is how she lost weight. Yeah, I don't believe it. And I also don't like that she said several times, I just started like not having to wear Spanx. I just don't like how she's dealing with that in terms of body image and stuff. Like, you don't have to wear Spanx. You don't have to wear anything. I mean, she seems like she feels better about herself, which love that for her. But I just kind of don't believe that she just did all this with walking in such a short amount of time. I feel like you'd have to be walking 25/8. So not even just 24/7. You'd have to be walking 25/8 to be able to accomplish that. And I just kind of don't believe it. But outside of that, I love me some Kelly Clarkson. Love her. I just feel like in general, she's very down to earth. She's herself. She's funny. She's a little awkward. She's like self-deprecating at times. She's just so real. And she just has like the funny, she says the funniest things. And sometimes she's a little like ditzy, not in a bad way, but I feel like I'm like that too, where I'm like, what? And so I think we would just be besties. We would get along so well. So, you know, keep an eye out for the Kelly and Shawnee show. I think that's all the questions, y'all. And I have been blabbering. How long is this? 2 hours? But let me put on some powder and stuff, and then I will be ready. Here is the final look. Yeah. I do hope that you make sure to go over to Erica's channel and to Jan's channel. I will have those linked in my little description box. And I hope that some of this was helpful. I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. I would love it if you liked the video, and I would love it even more if you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.